Picture this reality. Being born on an island surrounded by water, turquoise waters at that, and golden sands, yet told you cannot freely access the beaches of your own homeland. For many Jamaicans, this isn't a hypothetical scenario, it's daily life. And despite living on one of the most naturally blessed countries in the Caribbean, Jamaicans are often locked out of their own coastline, fenced away from the very beaches that define their culture, history, and way of life. And why, you may ask? Well, at the very heart of this controversy lies the 1956 Beach Control Act, a law rooted in colonial rule that continues to shape Jamaica's relationship with its coastline today. Let's get into this.
We should be able to use our beaches. We are a beach community. We are beach people. We're a small island surrounded by water.
Jamaicans can no longer access their own beaches.
This is where they work. Say they don't have a other job. They don't have nothing else to turn to.
Tourists can pay for exclusive access to beaches at all-inclusive resorts, but everyday Jamaicans are increasingly being blocked out of them.
When you push a fisherman from a beach, where did you want him to go? We are living in between waters, and we have no access to a beach.
Some Jamaicans are organizing to take down the colonial-era land laws that still affect them today.
Jamaican came into emancipation landless and homeless, and that problem have not changed in Jamaica.
The Beach Control Act was introduced when Jamaica was still under British rule, more than half a decade before independence. Now, on paper, the Act declared that all beaches were the property of the state and could be regulated by the government. But in practice, it opened the door for foreign powers and corporations to lease or control beaches, often shutting locals out. After independence, instead of reforming the law, successive governments just left it intact, allowing hotels, resorts, and private investors to continue restricting access.
Island in the middle of the Caribbean, the closest country to you is hundreds of miles away. So nobody not there around you, and you not have no access to your own beach. That means you're locked in your own country. You're turning a slave back in your own country. That is because of the 1956 Beach Control Act in Jamaica. The Beach Control Act of 1956 basically states that all of these colonizers like England, France, and foreign corporations have full control to we beaches them, and them lock out all of the Jamaicans them.
The result? Well, Jamaicans are now tourists in their own land. Fast forward nearly 70 years and the problem persists. It's not going anywhere. All-inclusive resorts. This is where many of Jamaica's prime beaches are tied up in exclusive resorts, mostly owned by foreign corporations. Then there is limited public access. Public beaches are few and often poorly maintained, while prime stretches of sand are gated off. Economic divide. Locals must sometimes pay high fees just to enjoy the natural resources that they grew up around. And meanwhile, the tourists stay in all-inclusive resorts and enjoy the beaches and the free alcohol without ever interacting with local communities. Their dollars often bypass the Jamaican economy entirely. It funnels right back into profits overseas. Jamaicans are employed, but they're paid menially. For Jamaicans, the beach is not just about recreation. It's a way of life. Generations of fishermen, families, and community gatherings have been tied to the sea. Restricting access means that losing leisure. It means erasing heritage and, of course, severing economic lifelines.
It was originally our beach. We were using all the beach. There was never a crowding issue at a beach. And now, through continued expansion, after expansion, we've always said what benefits standards benefits us. But now it is getting to the point where the greed of this organization is disenfranchising the communities. We will not give you our beaches. Look at it. Look at the size of Sandals Resort and the size on that map of what we have left. All that you see continuing onwards, we had free access. I grew up accessing all the beach. Access, access, access. And with the development of that organization, we said, yay! And we cheered you on, we participated, we helped to build, and now look what we have left. Look, that little section, that is all we have left. And you are proposing to say, oh, guess what? I'll give you 50 jobs. 50 low-level, skilled jobs, and you give us your beach, which we will never give you. The only reason that they do not deny the gentlemen in the kayak is because they cannot rule the beach. And they try their best. They try their best. They can't put their foot on the sand enough. They have to stay in that little canoe and sell their wares. It is at the point now where this relationship, it is no longer a symbiotic relationship. We are becoming a parasite.
This thing is going to affect the fishing industry, right? We tell them plain, I am not approving it. Anything Sandals want, Sandals get. That's the way it goes. Whether we say yes or no, if we say no, you won't get this deal. Even with this meeting, I am the president for the group, and I was never informed until Mr. Abla called me last night and tell me about this meeting. And the customers of mine called me and tell me about this meeting. And we have a fishing group in White House, but apparently they don't want us to come to the meeting because they don't want our voice to be heard. We always have a good relationship with Mr. Stewart from the beginning. He never break down bad. Because this don't make no sense. That is a form of disrespect.
Until this matter is settled, the community will continue to use its beach. And as was the case in some other areas, we will not allow for under any circumstance, any fencing of this property to happen. They're making it unequivocally clear, no, that we will not, because we know what our rights are, and we will not allow for any fencing of the property to take place. People are watching it around the clock, and if there are attempts to do that, we're going to remove it, because we know what will happen when it's fenced. Our access will be restricted until this is resolved, and we know the time it will take to resolve this, and we know that concurrently, in other instances where these things are being resolved, other things are happening that will further distance us away from having access.
The dynamic has led many to argue that the Beach Control Act, not just a law, but a modern form of colonialism, it privileges foreign ownership and government control while disempowering the very people who should be rightful stewards of Jamaica's coastline needs to go. Over the years, activists, community groups, and ordinary Jamaicans have fought for greater access to these beaches. Protests have erupted when beloved spots are often fenced off for private developments. Calls for reforms have grown louder, demanding that the act be repealed or radically changed to guarantee that the public, Jamaican citizens, have access. Tourism
is the impact of having this project in our community. Not just how it's going to impact our coral and our climate change and our mangroves, but how is it going to impact families? How is it going to impact children? How is it going to impact the fishermen? How is it going to impact access to fish and shrimp and all the other pieces that does not seem to be adequately captured in this assessment?
Residents around the community and around Jamaica have a beach problem, and they want to access the beach where they're returning residents with their friends and family, neighboring community, and that's a problem. So we need to get the relevant authority that can answer the question that the community has to ask.
Tourism, Jamaica's biggest industry, is now a part of that debate. Activists argue that visitors can play a role by supporting local guest houses, villas, and community-based tourism instead of funneling money into foreign resorts. But we can't control where people spend their money.
This is why we're telling us that don't stay at the all-inclusive resorts them when you come to a country, because we are actively fighting to get rid of this law, to get rid of them, feed them power in our country, and to stop the corruption in our government. You want support? We stay at the local hotels, villas, houses, apartments, condos, very safe places and very fun places for now. So if you don't want to support Jamaicans them directly, don't stay at the all-inclusive when you come to a country.
The fight over Jamaica's beaches connects the largest struggles across the Caribbean and African diaspora. For starters, who benefits from tourism really? How do post-colonial societies reclaim sovereignty over natural resources? And of course, how do citizens ensure their culture and livelihoods aren't sacrificed for Caribbean or, well, for foreign profits. For travelers, the choice is clear. If you want to truly support Jamaica, step outside that all-inclusive resort. Me, myself, I love me a good all-inclusive resort. But stay at a local hotel, rent a villa or a guest house, eat at community restaurants, spend where Jamaicans benefit directly. For Jamaicans, the call is louder. Reclaim the beaches, push for reform, in the era where laws written under colonialism still indicate life in an independent nation. Jamaica is more than a tourist postcard. Its beaches are not commodities to be locked away, but symbols of freedom, identity, and culture. The 1956 Beach Control Act may have chained Jamaicans to a colonial past, but the fight to reclaim their beaches is part of a larger struggle for true independence. And until that fight is won, Jamaicans will continue to ask, we will continue to ask, of course, how can we be locked out of paradise in our own homeland? For the African Diaspora News Channel, I'm Whitney McKoy. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.